Move, baby girl. Move, baby girl. Oh, good morning, guys. How are you all doing? Glad to have you here, and I hope you're doing well. Please subscribe, and comment. It helps my channel, and I appreciate any help. This single mom. Oh, I woke up today, guys. First, let me say thank you for all of you that came to my video yesterday on my loneliness day. Oh, it was bad. I want to thank you all for all your kindness. I appreciate you all so much. But today I woke up with a lot of anxiety, and I don't know why. Maybe it was the blood moon. They say it can affect your moods, your energy, what have you. I don't know. But I woke up with so much anxiety. I was nauseated, just nauseated. So I made a cup of warm water with a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger powder and drank it down. And nausea was gone like that. Thank goodness. That always works. That's what my mom raised us on. Natural remedies. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you what happened yesterday. It was very strange. After I showered, after I made the video yesterday, I thought I gotta get out of the house. So I went to the pet store to get some dog food for my dogs. And on the way back home, I was going down a street where there's a store called Family Dollar. That when I was married, we used to go there all the time because they used to have unusual things and inexpensive, and we just liked going there. And then after my divorce, my son Nathan and I used to go there all the time. And across the street was McDonald's, so we'd get McDonald's. I was at the stoplight and I was looking at the store. It's in one of those little like mini mall type thing. Not, well, you know what I mean. It's just a little strip of stores and stuff. And I was looking at it and I thought, I haven't been there in years and years and years. Well, something just said go. Just go. So I turned and I went in and I thought, this feels weird, you know. But when I was walking up to it, there was this young man. He looked like he was in his 20s, sitting there. He had his knees up, you know, and he's just sitting there. And I was just compelled to talk to him. Which, you know, when I see homeless people at the door or something, I might smile or say hello and just go by. I don't like to just ignore them because they're humans. And but I looked at him, I said, good morning, how are you doing? And he looks at me and he goes, oh, I'm doing fine, thank you, how are you? And I said, I'm doing okay. And I could see that he was not on, you know, drugs or alcohol. He didn't have that about him at all, not one bit. He was acting completely normal, and so we chatted for a few seconds, and then I went inside. And I was just looking around at everything, and I only got 3 things. I got a little ice cream, my Ben & Jerry's chocolate fudge brownie. Oh, I love it. And I found this for my little grandson, Jack. He likes those little window clings that you stick on the window. And so I thought, I gotta get that for him for Halloween. So I got that, and then a cloth pumpkin. I just thought it was cool. So I got those things, went to the register, checked out, and as I left, he was still out there. And I just looked at him, I said, well, listen, I said, you're a very good looking young man. You take care of yourself. And he was a really good looking young man. I said, you take care of yourself. I said, you're very young. You need to take good care of yourself. And he looked up at me and very calmly, he was like, thank you, I appreciate that very much. He had this aura about him that I can't explain. It was so kind and gentle. It was very unusual. So I left. I get home, I unpack my bag of 3 things. Well, there wasn't 3 things. This was not in the bag. And I thought, what? And I thought, did it fall out in the car? So I looked in the car, no, it wasn't there. And I thought, no, I want that for my grandson because he loves those. So I went back to the store, and there he still was sitting outside. And this time when I walked up to the door, I noticed there was a dog next to him. And I said, oh my gosh, I didn't notice that you had a dog when I first came by because your knees were up and she was on the side of you. And he goes, yeah, she likes to hide, you know. She was like a medium-sized dog, real cute. And then he looks up at me, he kind of goes, you know, When my dog knows someone is evil or not good, she will immediately growl. And I said, oh, I just went, oh. And right after he said that, she got up and she came right at me, just, I don't know how to explain it. She was putting her paws on me, wagging her tail and her butt, and she was licking my hand, and she was just all over me. And I was like, oh my goodness, sweetie. And I said, what's your name? And he goes, Clark. He named her Clark. And I said, well, hi, Clark, how are you? And she was just all over me, just loving me. And I thought, oh my gosh. And it just broke my heart, I hate to see homeless people. And it just breaks my heart. And he looks at her and he looks at me and he just goes, she obviously likes you a lot. And I said, I guess so, because it was so weird when I started to walk away to go back into the store. She got my hand in her mouth and she was pulling me to her. And I was like, oh, sweetie, And he goes, yeah, she really likes you quite a bit. And I was so surprised. So I got my hand out of her mouth and I said, I gotta go in the store. So I went in the store and I got the little clings again. And I went and checked out and the lady says, she goes, yeah, you forgot it in the cart. After you left, we saw it in the cart. And I was like, yeah, I couldn't believe it when I got home. So I paid for it, went out, he was still there. So I just talked to him for a minute. I was like, listen, is there anything you need for food or for you, for the dog? And he goes, well, actually somebody did buy my dog a big bag of dog food, so she has plenty, and some canned food. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, what about you? And he goes, really? And I said, yeah. Do you need some food? And he goes, well, they have these things in here. They're little tuna lunch kits where there's a can of tuna, a stack of crackers, a cookie, and a little bowl of fruit. And he goes, I would appreciate that. And I said, okay. I said, I'm going to get that for you. So I went in and I got him a few of those little lunch kits. And I asked the lady working in there, she goes, because I didn't know where they were, so I was asking her for these tuna kits, and she goes, is it for that guy out there? I said, yeah. She goes, yeah, that's what he loves. And she goes, we don't mind him being here. He is a wonderful and kind human being. She said, he just showed up, and he doesn't disturb anybody. He doesn't ask anybody for food or money or anything. She said, he just sits there for a little, shelter against the wall, I guess. And she goes, he's a very good person. And I said, yeah, he seems to be. And I said, do you know what he likes to drink? And she said, yeah, he likes Mountain Dew and he likes Sunny D. And I said, okay. So I got him a few of those and of the lunch kits and a bottle of Mountain Dew and a bottle of Sunny D. And when I was checking out, she said, it's such a sad story. He had a good job, but he lost it, couldn't find another job, ended up having no place to live. And she said, my husband and I are even considering going to to Walmart and getting him some long johns now that it's getting cooler at night. Some thermal, underwear type long johns. And so we talked for a minute. She goes, but he's really a wonderful guy. So I walked out, I gave him the food and the drinks, and he was like, oh my gosh, thank you so very much. And guys, I don't know how to explain this, but there was something different about him. He emanated a kindness, almost like a surreal energy about him. I don't know how to explain it, but it was really strange. And he had these unusual blue eyes, very unusual color of blue, really pretty, but very unusual. And I thought, when I was looking at him and talking to him, and so we talked for a bit, and I said, well, I gotta go. Well, his dog comes up to get my hand again. She put my hand in her mouth and she's pulling me to her. And I was like, oh my gosh. And he goes, she really, really likes you with good reason. And then out of the blue he goes, when you first walked up, I knew it was you. It is you. And I looked at him, I said, pardon me? And he goes, never mind. And that's where it ended. And so I just looked at him and I said, well, listen, young man, you take good care of yourself, okay? And be safe. And he goes, and you be safe too, and take care of yourself as well. And he spoke in such an ethereal type of way that I was like, whoa, that is weird. Guys, I drove away from there feeling good that I had helped this young man and that I gave his dog a little love. But I don't know. Even thinking about it right now, it was strange, guys. It was like this surreal, ethereal moment. And the way he spoke, his voice, his eyes, the way he looked at me, his kindness, it was unusual, guys. I don't know how to explain it, but as I drove away, I got like how can I put it? I felt like a shift in my energy, if that makes sense. If it makes sense. I felt like this shift in my energy, and I looked in my rear view mirror, and he was looking right at me as I drove away. And I felt this strange shift, which was, when I got home, it was very hard the rest of the day because the loneliness hit me back. Well, actually, after I got back, I was doing really well for quite a while. I felt good that I got out. I felt good that I talked to this young man and helped him. The people in the store were real nice. It felt good to be back in that store again after so many years, although it did bring back memories of my son and I going there, which kind of tugged at my heart. But it still felt good, and it was just, I don't know how to explain it, guys. It was an unusual encounter. That's the only way I can put it. It was an unusual encounter to where, don't mean to sound weird, but almost like he was, I don't know, not of the human world, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's what it felt like. And his kindness to me was so appreciated. The way he spoke to me was so kind and gentle and meaningful, you know what I mean? As we had our little conversation. So then I get home and I felt really good after that for a while, and then boom, the loneliness just hit me again. I was like, where did this come from? I was feeling really good. Where did this come from? But it was weird when I felt that shift in my energy. Right as I pulled away, I felt it. It was, ooh, one of those things, you know, where you just kind of like, ooh, you know, you kind of shiver because you felt something. That's what happened. And it was a good feeling, not bad. It was a good, like, ooh, I don't know how to explain it. But then the loneliness hit later in the day, which bummed me out. I had a really rough night last night, really rough. I was like so desperate to have somebody here. And yeah, I'll say it, somebody to hold and to hold me. It was such a strong emotion. It was like I almost felt like I could reach out next to me and there would be this wonderful man to just lean on and just hold and have him holding me. I know that sounds weird, but that's what happened. I'm being honest with you. I always give you my real emotions and what really happens. And it was strong. It was a very difficult night. And then I wake up with this anxiety, which I thought, what is that from? Where did this come from? My son, Elliot, his girlfriend, Becca, she suffers from anxiety and panic attacks too, so she knows what I'm going through. We're both able to share what we're going through, which is a really big help. And it, like she told me, it comes out of nowhere. She'll have the anxiety, or she'll have the panic attack for no reason. That's what happened to me. I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I just felt the anxiety. It was so strong. I don't know why. So today I'm going to do my laundry. I didn't do it yesterday. I wasn't up to it. So I'm going to do that to help keep my mind occupied, because I'm really struggling right now, whether you know it or not, with anxiety. I'm like, ooh. So anyway, guys, just wanted to share with you what happened yesterday after my very difficult day, the day before, with the loneliness. I just wanted to share with you. It was an unusual happening, and it was like something said, you've got to go back to the store. And then I forget this. It's like something said, no, you got to go back to the store. You got to talk to that young man. That's what it felt like, guys. It really did. Anyway, take care, and I will see you guys later. Or talk to you later, not see you. I will talk to you later. But that was a very, very unusual happening yesterday. Very unusual. Something pulled me to that store and pulled me right back to that store, because I don't know how I forgot that. It was in the little area where the kids sit. How I didn't notice it. I just don't understand it. And then I had to go back and get it. Anyway, it was weird. Take care, guys, and you have a good week ahead. Bye-bye.